Hey guys, and welcome to this video. So I'm just hopping on here today to talk a little bit about fear. I'm going to talk about what fear is, how it shows up for you, and what to do about it when it shows up, how to recognize what it is, and what to do when it rears its ugly head. So my name is Emma, and what I do is I help people who know what their purpose is to hear and clear the emotional wounds so they can have the energetic shifts to take inspired, aligned, and committed action to live and fully own their purpose. So fear is one of the major things that gets in the way of people fully doing what they love and loving what they do. So fear, first of all, what is it? Fear is something that we all have as human, and it has a function. So fear was designed to keep us alive. You go to the edge of the cliff, fear comes along and says, don't go over there, dangerous, don't touch the fire, dangerous. There's fear, keeps you running from the tiger when the tiger's running after you. So it's something that's designed to kind of self-preservation thing. But the problem in our lives now is that many of us, we're running on fear. Fear is like the primary emotion in our life. So you have stress, you have worry, you have anxiety, for example. These three senses that so many people live their whole lives from these places, they are very fear based emotions. And even if you look under a lot of other negative emotions, so to speak, like jealousy, anger, you're going to find some kind of fear there underneath it if you dig far enough. This is why many people, they talk about having fear or some things are either fear or it's the emotion of love. It's one of those two. So when you feel the fear coming up, it's false. People talk about false evidence appearing real, and I think that a lot of that is true because the tiger isn't running after us. Most of the time when we're feeling those fearful emotions, our lives are not in danger. Maybe there are definitely exceptions to that, but generally quite often it's false evidence appearing real, with just things that we're creating in our head, and we're creating and generating all this fear for ourselves. So if that's the case, what we need to do is kind of, rather than run away from the fear and not want to feel it, which is kind of what we're trained to do from any negative emotion, we don't want to feel it. The trick is to kind of look the fear in the eye and find out what is underneath it, because as you know, what you resist in life persists. So if you run away from fear, if you try to push it down, it just pops up in another form. You can't escape it. You can't outrun the fear. The way to deal with emotions is to experience them fully and then let them go. But when we push them down, that's when we have these unprocessed emotions that end up in our bodies, in our energy system, and affect how we can move forward with our lives. So, so if you feel that you're living from this place of fear, from this place of anger, and you don't know how to deal with it, the question you can ask yourself to fully feel that fear, if it's not working for you, so you can ask yourself, what would I need to believe is true in order to have this feeling? What would I need to believe is true to feel this way now? Because you can't have a feeling about anything without having a belief about it first. So it's really worthwhile doing some investigation, finding out where the fear comes from. So look that fear in the eye. This is my challenge for you. Find out what it's really about. So this is what I do when I'm working with clients one-to-one. We kind of look at the fear. So you've got this situation going on with your work or with your partner, and all this fear is coming up. And you want to dig underneath it to find out what the bottom underlying belief, what would I need to believe is true in order to feel this way? Or you can also ask yourself, so if you're worried about stepping into your purpose, oh my God, and all this fear comes up, it's in your chest and it's making you paralyzed, it's stopping you, it's making you procrastinate, it's making you wait until everything is perfect, it's making you make up every single excuse in the world not to take action, it's made you incapable of taking action, it's made you frozen. So in those cases, it's helpful to work with someone else, possibly. You can do this on your own as well. Just kind of do a little bit of digging. What is the underlying fear is here? So this fear in my chest. What, if it had a voice, what would it say? What would it be saying? And what's the worst thing that could happen if I do step in, if I do take this step, if I do move into this new job, this new career, this new lifestyle? What's the worst thing would happen? And see what comes up. What are the feelings? What are the sensations? Is it something about your parents? What would your parents think? What would that mean for you? What does that bring up for you? What are their concerns? What would your friends think? What would your family think? And what would be the worst thing about that? So really look it in the eye, feel it. But the thing about feelings is that they only stick around emotions. It's energy in motion and wants to move. But when we push it down, when we force it, when we say, no, I don't want to feel you, that's when the energy, the emotion gets stuck. That's when the fear gets trapped and blocked, and it creates this stuckness in our lives. So the way to release it is to bring it up, to recognize, okay, so this is the fear. I'm afraid of what my parents will think. I'm afraid of being successful. I'm afraid of failing. My God, what would be the worst thing if I fail? If I fail, then everyone will think that I'm a fraud. Everyone will think that I'm useless. And the underlying belief, 99 times, so often, it comes down to a feeling of unworthiness. People feel that they're unworthy. People feel that they're not capable. People feel that they're not enough. And the fear is just other expressions of this. So to really deal with the fear at a deep level, rather than just getting rid of the symptoms, you've got to deal with this worthiness issue. By releasing, start doing things. And I'm going to talk about that in another video, ways to improve your self-esteem, ways to build yourself up, and ways to manage that. But first of all, look it in the eye and see what's underneath it. See what's there, look at what's there, feel the fear, recognize that it's there, see what the underlying belief is. Remember, you can't have a feeling about anything without having some beliefs there. So do a little bit of digging, a little bit of inner investigation to see what the beliefs are there that's holding that fear in place. And from there, you can let it go. You can start taking action. So I spoke in another video about how the antidote for fear is taking action. So the trick is to do both. Do this releasing work and then take the action. They've got to be done in conjunction with the other, because it's very difficult to take action when you're feeling so paralyzed you can't even breathe. So do the releasing work, let it go. Is that true? Release those feelings, let them go, and then start taking little actions in the direction of what it is that you want. So I really hope this video has been useful for you. So remember, fear, most of the time, if it's stress, if it's anxiety, it's going to be, it's a chemical messenger, nothing to be afraid of. Feel the fear and then let it go. Recognize that it's a messenger, it's got a message for you. Listen to that and move through it rather than pushing it down and trying to pretend that it's not there. So let me know how this video would be if the video was for you, and if you need any more help with it, do feel free to get in touch and we can have a quick chat to see where you are moving forward with your purpose and how to break through those blocks that we create to living our purpose.